Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boom Bar right here on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Dolupo, and I bid you a warm welcome to the Boom Bar today. Today promises to be a very interesting one, as we're going to be talking about quite a lot of things in Nigeria and around the world as usual. Of course, President Tinubu is in the news. We're going to be talking about an agricultural feat, something that apparently has never happened before in Nigeria. We're going to be talking a bit about that. The NDLEA, of course, is usually in the news, is their way. But would I say on their part is good news, for on criminals' part is not so good news. Alrighty, also there's talks of the EFCC, a former top NNPC official, and a few others have been indicted over this refinery maintenance, refinery that never worked. You know, it had always been a conversation about was the refinery going to work, and there was budget for it every year. There's talks about that. Also, Iran and Israel's matter back and forth. We're going to be looking at it. What is happening at the moment? Is there a ceasefire? Is there not a ceasefire? What is happening at the moment? In the past, 2 days, 3 days, there's been quite a number of things. It's affecting a lot of oil. I think the Strait of what's that thing called? There's this particular Hormuz, yes, that looks like they might get closed. There are quite a number of things that this fight might actually really, really affect. But that and a whole lot of other things as well. The Club World Cup is really moving swiftly. Is moving to the last 16, and we're going to be talking about that. It's really quite fast, actually. So we're going to be talking about that. Quite a number of people that you did not think were going to be out are already out, and some people are still in the competition, and that and a lot of other things we're going to be talking about today at the bar. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's show. My name is Dolupo, and I bid you a warm welcome again. And with me in the studio today is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Boom Bar.
Okay, so we're getting straight into the gist for today, and starting with something that the president did yesterday. The president inaugurated about 2,000 tractors yesterday, I think, at the FCT. The president has been going on doing, or would I say, the FCT actually. I've been doing a lot of inauguration. I think there's supposed to be 19 days of inauguration. The president is supposed to do a few. Then the vice president is supposed to do some. Then the Senate president, and I think the Speaker of the House of Representatives. So one of the things that the president was supposed to launch was that yesterday he had launched 2,000 tractors under the Renewed Hope Agriculture Mechanization Program. They also, he was also said that he also launched 9,000 specialized farming implements.
Okay. Interesting development, actually, for Nigeria, especially when you follow the candidates, during the electioneering process. I think it was something similar to this that led to people actually calling Tinubu supporters a certain name. They started calling them Agbado. And that was when, on one of his outings, he was talking about food security or insecurity, as the case may be, and what Nigeria needed to do. And for 2 years, a lot of people have been asking this question. They've been asking, like, okay, wait, where is the Agbado? Where are the 50,000 youths that were going to be drafted into the military or the police and all of that, or the army and all of that? But I think this is now one of them. I think we must have taken a lot of time to put this together, but it's unprecedented. One of the statistics that hit me about this project is how Nigeria's mechanized farming ratio or statistics as of today is 0.27 or something, less than 1% per hectare. But with this project alone, it takes it to 2.5 or something, which shows you how poor we are when it comes to mechanized farming.
Yeah.
And I think the president talked about using 18th century implements in the 21st century. I don't even the 18th century implements. I don't even see them. You know, we've looked at farming in a very bad way for too long. We've looked at farming as something that was dirty and unskilled.
But it's literally what feeds us. Literally.
Yeah, and it's the other way around. You need skills to be a farmer. And farming is not only about tilling the ground. There's an entire value chain, you know, that can actually change the lives of individuals and even a country collectively, you know. So it's a good thing now that they've also talked about how they're going to disburse this equipment. Something that flew over our heads about a week and a half ago. There's a federal government agency called NASENI, and they've started a project where they are...
Well, I think they were repairing
old
tractors.
assets.
Yeah.
So they started with tractors, and they were able to put back about 300 or 400 tractors, you know, which happened somewhere in the northern part of Nigeria. And I'm like, this is a fantastic concept because this will save
also reduces
some
waste.
money.
Yes, it reduces waste. Yeah.
And it's going to be a national thing. It's actually a national thing. So shout out to NASENI and the Nigerian government for doing this. So now acquiring more tractors, fixing old tractors, drives up the mechanized farming aspect of Nigeria, which means food production would increase. Again, another thing that the president talked about is how farming has to be an all year round thing. I have always wondered why we allowed nature to dictate. There are ways around it now, you know. There are greenhouses, there's a dry season farming, there's irrigation and all of that. Because imagine how farmers had to wait. I remember a story of how farmers were waiting for rain one particular year. And the first rain that came, a lot of people went to farm, thinking that the rainy season had started.
And it didn't.
And it didn't. It did not take off. And guess what? Those people lost a lot. So, but with mechanized farming, with agriculture, we're now able to, you know, provide year-round farming, which definitely speaks to food security. My downer with all of this is two things. When you increase production, you must increase your capacity for storage, for processing, and also for off-takers. In the sense that if a farmer who is comfortable with maybe just farming only 1 hectare of land now can do 100 hectares, who's going to buy his produce? So we need some kind of produce board or commodities board, some system where the off-takers are there, you know, to protect the farmers from the middlemen. Because there was a time Nigeria ramped up the production of rice and it left us worse off. This is a fact. We can't afford to have that again. So as they're doing this, as they're ramping up, they need to talk about the entire value chain, especially storage and distribution, transportation too, you know, good roads, the farms, they need access, you know. So this is actually a laudable project, and we must say good things about good things when you say it. You can't continue to just see bad in everything, but this is a good thing, and we must commend them for this. But however, there's a whole lot more, because there are a lot of farmers whom I have spoken to, maybe one or two, who still feel left out one way or the other, that government is not really, you know, bringing up policies that would make it easier for them.
Okay, so we'll follow this matter, like you said. We'll see what the presidency is doing about it. But before we move on from the presidency, we're moving to the office of the vice president. And the vice president is hosting actually Brazil's vice president Geraldo Alckmin in Nigeria. He landed in Nigeria today, and he's supposed to is here for a 3-day summit, and it's supposed to culminate in the signing of over 30 MOUs across sectors, include defense, cooperation, agriculture, technology, energy collaboration, health, education, and cultural exchange. This is interesting and you know, I would have thought, oh, okay, the president was involved, yeah, but apparently it's more of a National Economic Council thing. So is the vice president that is championing it, is the vice president that is hosting him for those 3 days. there's supposed to be meetings and galas and all that. But basically, the vice president is the host for this.
Another welcome development, knowing the strength of Brazil in those sectors that you mentioned, especially in agriculture, when it comes to livestock farming, for instance. I know that President Tinubu had already had meetings with the Brazilian president, and this had been sealed at that level. And a few days ago, one of the biggest Brazilian companies actually came into Nigeria officially. There was an unveiling by the governor of Ogun State, So they're doing a lot, and they're also going to be doing things in Kebbi State and some other parts. I think about 12 states and all of that, because with the new livestock ministry that Nigeria created, this was going to be the fulcrum of it, and this is a very, very welcome development again. And and at diplomatic levels, of course, it's vice president to vice president. Then there are governors and there are ministers, even on that entourage that will be doing
different things.
And one of the saddest parts is that I've not read the entire stories, but you highlighted the areas where we will be signing MOUs, and nobody's talking about sports. We know how great Brazil is, not just in football, but in athletics and other sporting activities. And it could have been a nice thing, even if it's just an exchange of
a lot of collaboration in that regard,
knowledge and everything, or even a structured Nigeria-Brazil tournament that is maybe every 2 years or something. Some ideas that could ginger a lot of support and everything. And if you're listening to us, man, you all should look at sports too as part of it, because Brazil is one of the please correct yourself. Brazil is the highest exporter of football talent in the world.
Yeah.
And it's actually documented. Nigeria, actually has a lot too, but we're not doing as well as they are, because I think they have better structures than we do in administration and everything. But at the end of the day, again, today is the 24th of June 2025. By the 24th of June 2026, these MOUs, a lot of them should have crystallized.
Yeah, at least, even if it's not
not enough to sign papers. Again, you understand?
It's action. It has to do with a lot of action. Anyway, we'll see. We'll definitely follow. It's a 3-day visit, so we'll probably be giving more updates as the days go by. Now, let's just go through a few stories. The NDLEA had announced that between June of 2024 and May of 2025, they arrested 312 suspects, and they seized 803.7 kilograms. Wait for it. In just Akwa Ibom alone.
One state.
Yep.
We have 37 states.
36.
37.
No, we have 36 states.
Plus.
And the Federal Capital Territory is not a state.
Which is bigger than some states.
Do not misinform people.
Which is bigger than some states.
We do not misinform people here.
We
have 36
bigger than
states.
One of the states that gets the most allocations.
We have 36 states. Thank you.
Of these 37 states that Nigeria has,
36 states.
Only one. This is a massive problem. This is a sad situation.
No, so it's a huge.
This is a scary situation.
Scary numbers. Scary numbers.
I saw a video. A guy that went to some ghetto in Lagos. I don't know where he went to. I'm suspecting it's either Mushe.
Oh, there are two different videos that I've seen. There's one from Agege. I think the guy had a whole documentary. I think he said he's coming out in a few days.
YouTube and all of
that.
Yeah,
that was in Agege. Then there's another person that has had series, and I think that one is coming out. Is in Mushin.
Yeah. So I was going to say, I'm glad she just zeroed in on those places. I was suspecting it was Mushin, it was Agege.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the two major parts that I was suspecting, not even Ajegunle. I'm not going to lie. And on the comments that were dropped, someone was like, have you been to the east recently? Someone was like, what are you talking about? Have you been to the north? And this is Akwa Ibom now. We have a big problem on our hands.
Oh, it's a huge one.
We have a massive, big problem. It's almost at pandemic levels, but the government is not seeing it. The governors are not seeing it. And if they knew, whatever campaign that they are doing to reorientate people, when it comes to other societal ills, they would double their efforts when it comes to drugs and the abuse.
But before we get to the issue of government, which I know that it's important, does it also show the level of decadence in homes?
It does. It shows the level of decadence in homes. And the reason why I started from government is that they are the ones that have the resources, and they're the ones that will feel it the most if it becomes a full-blown pandemic. That's why I started from the angle of government. There's a theory that I've always propounded, I've always pushed, and I believe with every part of my body that parenting is the biggest issue in the world. Like, if you get parenting right, you will reduce the problems of the world by at least 80%. Apart from the people who are destined to be bad.
At least most people would not be.
Yeah, like Judas Iscariot.
No, that's why I said most. Because there will always be one.
That's why I said 80%. Do you understand?
There will always be one.
I left that margin, that 20%
Oh, yeah,
margin.
there will always be one mad fellow.
So apart from those ones, because we're talking parenting and everything, apart from those ones, you now realize that parenting is a big issue. And why am I saying that? Is that some of us, nobody's a saint, nobody's holy, but some of us had strict parents, and I think it ended up helping us.
Think?
Because when you look back, you're like, oh,
think
there were things that
you
were just even scared to find out.
Exactly, like you don't even want to find out how they're going to react. So you know what? I don't have energy.
And some things that you actually did do that were wrong, that you would quickly beat a retreat, like, oh, more. If they catch me on this beat, last one, I'm dead meat.
I remember having a conversation with someone a couple of times, and I said, I know that, these days they raise children. I say, that I get it, that your children should be your friends, your children should be... to a large extent, I agree. But there should also be the angle that this person is my parent. We're not buddies. We're parents and children. I would say categorically for someone like me, there was a bit of fear that kept me from doing a lot of things. And I think that there's a little bit of fear that is healthy.
Yeah.
When you raise children.
Yeah, so again, someone put it better for me. You talked about the different stages of lives of children and what you mean to them in those stages. In the early stages where it's all about love and everything, you need to nurture them and train them and be firm when you have to. Then the friendship part is after they have grown, when they are like in their early teens, moving, because that's when they need a friend the most. You get, but you would have been strict and loving in the early, from 0 to 13 or thereabout. Then the latter one, you put it in 3 stages though, because there's a stage in children's lives where you're wrong. You're always wrong. There's a stage in their lives where they're like, you don't get it. They're going to be like, you don't get it. But if you had built that foundation, they can still approach you as a friend. That's when you become a friend. You get. So, but not being able to understand the different stages of children's, your child's evolution or growth is where the problem starts from. Like in the process of training a child, if you are too strict where you shouldn't be, you destroy them or embolden them wrongly. But if you are clear with your message and you are an example of that message, you get. There's something I've learned recently. If I'm talking to any of my children, I drop my gadgets. I drop my phone. Drop my laptop, because I'm supposed to concentrate and listen to you. Do you understand? As against when someone is talking to you and you're okay. You don't even know half of the things they are saying. And that stage is coming in your life when they grow and you're talking to them
to listen.
And they're not also listening. But if you have taught them how to listen by example, and that's why I'm saying that, we're talking, and we got up to this parenting story because of the number of drugs that were recovered in Akwa Ibom state, and that's just one state in Nigeria. I'm sure there are other states that have a larger population, and these things are there, they're real, and we should stop fooling ourselves. So, and who has the resources? It's the government. I'm hoping that they can commit more to training and reorientation.
Anyway, I'm talking about a bit of crime as well. In Lagos State, courts in Lagos State have now convicted 23 Chinese nationals. These people are part of a 792-member cyber fraud syndicate that were arrested December of 2024. So it's official. They've now been sentenced. And one reason why I brought this matter is, number one, the fact the number of Chinese people that we hear all the time. Two, we hear a lot of arrests and we do not hear a lot of convictions. Maybe they're actually being convicted and it just doesn't make the news. Yeah, that's an angle. But also, another thing that I also wanted to say kudos to the Lagos State government is the swiftness to this. These people were arrested December 19, 2024. And we're talking about a conviction in less than a year. It's not the usual way of the judiciary.
Yeah.
It will go on and on and on and on and on for months and for years and nobody remembers again. And that's it. People need to realize that there are consequences. You cannot just come into Nigeria and just, do things as you like. There are consequences for these actions.
Again, and this is not to defend Nigeria per se, looking at how a lot of things that you hear about Nigeria are based on the crimes that are committed online, apart from the physical and the idiotic ones, that go physically. The crimes that, you hear that something happened and it's a Nigerian prince or whatever. And, when you do a bit of research at times, you just find out that those people are not even based in
Nigeria. They're not
even Nigerians.
Yeah, they just use the...
And now, it's now becoming so rampant that virtually every month, you hear about non-Nigerians being arrested in Nigeria for cybercrime.
Yeah, it's and I think that's the way to go. You need to get to a point where these people realize that Nigeria is not a safe haven for crime. That's
so as long as there's serious enforcement of those laws, and like you said, let there be prosecution and results from that. As long as there's evidence, send them to jail.
Yeah,
there are Nigerians wallowing in jails all around the world. Abi, is it because they are not Nigerians now? They are now special. Nigerians plenty everywhere now.
Everywhere. So let's. It's the same energy, please. You come back.
Lock them up. Lock them up. Maybe that would deter the rest.
Maybe. And now, before we leave people that they are arresting and all that, the EFCC has now arrested former NNPC officials over a 7.2 billion naira refineries repair fraud.
Here we go.
They said this is monies that was alleged to be connected to rehabilitation of the Kaduna, Warri, and Port Harcourt refineries. Refineries that did not work. $7.2 billion.
Every time you get to hear about how they were doing, they used to call it TAM, turnaround maintenance, for this refinery and that refinery. Then a few years after, you hear that they want to turn around. What are you turning around? The one that you turned before has not even turned.
That's not even turned. It did not turn, literally. It did not turn. Let's be honest. Because it did not refine one single liter of petrol, crude oil.
Didn't.
It did not turn none.
And now there are individuals, because we always knew that it was not as if these things were perpetuated by ghosts.
Yeah.
Or spirits. Even if it was done by
NNPC's
spirits.
former CFO.
The spirits have Nigerians helping them now. They have human beings helping them.
Even if we go by being spiritual, even spirits need human beings to enter.
Standard.
So it's such spirits that is doing nothing.
Oh my God.
That's why it's the devil's handwork. No, it's not devil's handwork. It's your handwork.
I swear, if it was that the devil was allowed to speak at some of these instances, you will see where devil will point to some of these civil servants and all these criminals and say you are evil.
I used to say something.
Someone said something.
I don't know if it's right, but I feel that there's some things that some Nigerians do. See, I don't know about any other person, any other country in the world. So I will talk about Nigerians with what I have seen. There are times that even the devil is like, wow. Am I even this evil?
Exactly.
Nigerians, evil.
You know, that's why
refineries that did not work.
That's why someone said a couple of decades ago that Nigerians are giving corruption a bad name. I'm like, wait. Did corruption have a good name before?
But we're here yesterday when we're having a conversation about how you want to buy a phone worth 1.3 million naira, and Nigerians, because you bring it from maybe the US to Nigeria, it becomes 2.7 million naira. If you are not a wicked human being, what are you?
It's just 1.4 markup now. Okay. Just 1.4 million. Just more
than
the amount to buy.
In their defense, at least it should work, Abi. These ones are not even working. And I know that people are going to say that, yes, they were the ones that were involved. But I had sort of a question, though. Shout out to former President Buhari, because I think he actually really started this thing, and, he really turned the whole thing around and took the thing off the NNPC. And I think they invited a proper company to come, and that was what started this refinery thing. As much as maybe APC people will have to say, oh, it was during Tinubu's time that the refineries worked, it didn't start it. It started from former President Buhari. Let's give who who deserves the honor. Let's put it out. Let's not lie about it. It's not political. However, my question is, from the presidents of those times, let's say from 1999 to, because this maintenance turnaround, I've been hearing it since God knows when. From maybe the president 1999 or whatever they started, to the National Assembly, the Senate, because at least we know that they have there's budget defense, there's people that have oversight functions. Please, the people that are into the oversight functions of the refineries that did not work.
That period, though.
What were you doing? So how do you come back the next year to maintain what is not working? It doesn't make any sense. Because I know that everybody is talking about NNPC officials, but I believe that the presidency and the legislature gave that room, because they always came up with because money that you don't approve, money that is unavailable, you cannot steal it now. It's money that I put here that I can say, okay, maybe I left money on the floor. I forgot money and it fell on the floor outside. I can say, oh, someone stole it. Money that was not there cannot be stolen.
No.
So that's another conversation we never have. How is it okay that, take for example, let's go to CBN, just a little detour to CBN, and the talk of Emefiele did this, Emefiele did that. So one of the major issues that the EFCC has with him is that he was spending a lot of money so-called defending the Naira, which at this point there's allegations that some of that money did not go to defending the Naira, yeah?
Maybe they were defending their pockets, man.
How do you build 750-something duplexes?
By defending the Naira.
Really?
By defrauding the Naira.
But how was he okay?
Allegedly.
And one of the major issues that they claimed to have with him was that he was spending a lot of money without the consent of the National Assembly.
No approvals, man.
So now my question is, how is he? Did
he even have such powers in the first place?
This is someone that was CBN governor for years. Yeah. How did the National Assembly? Where are the people that do oversight functions?
Who is he supposed to be reporting to apart from the president?
There are oversight functions. There are committee on CBN.
Apart from that legislative.
Okay, the
power.
vice president.
What about the minister? What about the minister of finance?
The minister of finance.
And none of them.
Do you understand? Like
None of
all
them
that
had a say.
Nobody had because they're all quick to say, "Oh, Emefiele did this." Oh, NNPC's what's it called? But you allowed a system. You left a system that is easy for people to steal.
And still staying on this matter, this thing that we're discussing, you also wonder how it's now that this NNPC CFO is being arrested, is being prosecuted. Do you understand? The same people who have arrested him now, why didn't they pick him up then? What happened? Are we saying they just woke up?
No, just woke up. They just realized.
Happy waking up.
It's ridiculous, Sha.
Please
That's
expand your dragnet.
It is just ridiculous that whether we like it or not, we'll always keep having these stories.
And Nigeria
we do not plug those holes.
Nigeria will be like this, and a lot of people will be like, "Oh, we could have built X number of schools. We could have done this and that and that and that with the funds." And they are right. People are correct when you think about it. That if you look at education, maybe they could have made education free even at tertiary school level if you could stop all these people from stealing money. Yeah,
but if you do not plug those holes, we would always sit down at this bar and we'll have this conversation. And it's the truth. Anyway, moving on from that, the Lagos State Governor inaugurated UCODIN, West Africa's largest safety footwear factory is in Lagos State. Just wanted to put that out there. That's
the thing about that factory that actually thrills me. In 2016, this factory, their daily output was 20. Now, with the new factory, they can do 5,000 a day.
Wow.
From 20 units. What percentage is that? And this is in 9 years. That's massive, man. That's really massive because you look at it from the angle of how it will save Nigeria from importing these items, which saves the need for forex. It will create more jobs. It will.
Now the bigger the production, the more people they need to employ.
The turnaround time for projects also for people who require safety boots. They don't need to order. They don't need to wait.
You can just pick it up wherever they.
So shout out to the owners of the UCODIN footwear factory.
Okay, now let's sit down and move from that and do a bit of politics. First things first, the PDP has announced that they're going ahead with the NEC meeting. And it's okay to go with the NEC meeting. However, there was a warning from INEC saying that the notice of the NEC was not done properly, was not signed adequately. But INEC still feels that, or PDP still feels that it's okay for them to get. And you know what this reminds me of? I can't remember. I think it was someone of, former PDP chieftains. I can't remember if it's former or it's still there. I can't remember exactly. But I remember seeing that headline, and I read the story where he said, PDP is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. And that anybody that is contesting under the PDP come 2027 is doing it at his own detriment.
It is one thing to just hear what INEC said. According to the PDP, they do not need INEC's approval to have this NEC meeting or this. They said they had was it the stakeholders meeting or something?
Where is INEC not supposed to come and observe this meeting?
It's a meeting. It's not Congress or whatever.
If they are not supposed to be there, why did you inform them?
So I don't. Maybe the law stipulates that they inform them. You understand? But they're saying that they don't need permission to have this meeting. But do they have a big problem? Yes, they do. And every attempt to solve that problem has not worked. Someone is the secretary. Another person becomes secretary because that person that was secretary wanted to go and contest. He didn't win or something happened. He came back and he's still actually the secretary. But they're saying, no, we have a new secretary. And they're like, no. So they are back and forth. Now they went for a third person to say, okay, and it still won't work. Do you understand? So they need to retrace their steps. The PDP needs to get together. But the sad part is that another news that broke over the weekend was and why I say it's sad is that I've always said that we need a strong and vibrant opposition. Now, there's a party that is trying to register. There are people who are trying, no, it's not a party. There are people who are trying to register a party called ADA, ADA. Yeah. And it is made up of people from Labour Party, from APC, and from the PDP. Now, this PDP that has been seriously depleted, that has lost a lot of elected officials and even their stalwarts and chieftains. We have names for everybody in this country. We have titles for them. This same PDP now is still faltering. And some people are trying to register a party. They're trying to build a strong opposition. They call it, it's been tagged loosely a coalition. Everybody's been talking about a coalition. Even that coalition now, according to INEC, they sent their letter addressed to a different body entirely. They didn't address it properly to INEC. You get Independent National Electoral, it's just Independent National Commission or something. There was no electoral there. So INEC has not received their letter, but they have to move fast. The same PDP that is being depleted by APC and now this ADA and any other coalition is still there.
Still fighting
amongst themselves, and they are losing members on a daily.
Oh yeah, they definitely are losing members on a daily. I'm talking about losing members on a daily. They just lost another House of Rep member today. However, 2 people had defected from the PDP and Labour Party today to the APC in the Green Chamber.
That's the Senate.
No, the Green Chamber.
Sorry, the House of Reps. So that seriously tilts the balance in a very precarious way. It's now almost like the APC now have free reign in the House.
In the House, they're going to do whatever it is they want to do at this point. But before we leave the issue of politics, the former Kaduna governor had an interview, I would say, yesterday.
Yeah.
And he made quite a number of things. He said a number of things. He said that he had endorsed former President Buhari, and President Buhari did not do well. I'm like, okay, but I thought you went to visit this man a few days ago. I'm just saying, this is me looking at it like, isn't this a tad bit hypocritical? After the man now said that he's not leaving the APC now, he's suddenly not a good person anymore. Anyway, he also said that he endorsed President Tinubu, but we can all that President Tinubu is also not a good person as well. And that, in his own words, if he ever nominates anybody for Nigerians again, that they should not follow the person. So in my head, I'm like, okay, so you're not going to be part of the coalition and you're not going to say anything to people again. Number one, doesn't that show that you're not a good judge of character if we go by what you said? 1. 2, he also now made a statement saying that President Tinubu's cabinet lacked quality, that when he was minister, people like Okonjo Iweala there and all that, who are those kind of people that are in Tinubu's cabinet now. And in my head, and like I said, this is just me and my thoughts. Isn't it the same cabinet he really wanted to join? He was going to join, if not that the Senate had...
Yeah, he went for screening.
If not that the Senate had...
he went for screening. He went to be screened as a minister.
Yeah.
So people had... he had been touted to be the Minister of Power.
Yeah.
You know, because in fact, the bulk of the questions that he was asked was in line with, his plans for the ministry.
So that's my own, this...
That means that if he had become a minister, it would have been the only good...
You would have been fine. You would have been fine with the cabinet, yeah?
No. It would have been the best. It would be the only star minister.
So it's only okay when things don't go well with you, then all of them are suddenly bad.
Governor Nasir El-Rufai has unraveled in a very interesting way.
Very interesting, actually.
And I don't want to rub it in for Dolupo, but I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so.
Honest truth is that I will not lie to you.
You know?
I'm not
Politicians?
I won't say that I'm a political person, but, and not like I've ever met him or anything, but over the years, from him being a minister, the first time I ever really had any or really was when I read his book, Accidental Public Servant. As you know what as you get older, you're like, nothing is really accidental, let's not lie, and all that, but he also actually sounds like a very cerebral human being.
He is cerebral. That doesn't mean he's a good politician.
Like,
but he's cerebral.
These days, I'm like, y'all just unravel so much.
So the interesting thing about is statements. Let's look at it. Do I think everybody on Tinubu's cabinet is fantastic? No. But you're saying nobody?
Oh, say it's a joke. That is nobody.
Anybody that says that is blind. Yeah. You don't see what Wike is doing in Abuja. Oh, you were minister of Abuja. You are the one that people said did well. In 2 years, what Wike has done, I'm not sure anybody has done it. In 2 years. And that's the truth. Oh, Tinubu has failed, according to El-Rufai. But you allowed Buhari fail for 8 years, because according to you, Buhari has failed. I mean, in your own words. If Buhari failed for 8 years, how come 2 years of Tinubu, he has failed? At least let's see 4 years, or even 3 years.
I just think that we need to...
No minister has done well. Olubunmi Tunji with what is done in that ministry, no minister in that category has done what that man has done in 2 years. In the entire history of Nigeria. Passports are no longer rocket science in Nigeria. And look at how people are traveling now. You know, of course, there's a lot to be done. But he hasn't done anything. Have you seen what Tuga is doing? Have you seen what Party is doing in health? Come on. You can play this politics without this level of angst.
Because angst there is you can see it
blinds you from seeing
being very
things properly.
Realistic.
Nigeria is not where she should be. We all know that. But that there are no good ministers here now. Then the international accolades that they are getting, all of them. Dele Alake. Look at what's happening in that ministry. Look at the level of FDIs that's flowing in. They started an international ministers union or whatever, and they made him the chairman for people in his sector. He's not doing any well. He's not doing anything, Abi. Festus Keyamo is not doing well. Abba Malam. Abba.
I think that he's just been is very, very. So now my question for him is,
and there were a lot of contradictions.
So are you saying now that with what you said, it's better not to join the coalition because it means
it's a lie.
No. What I mean by if we go by what he said, it's better not to join the coalition because anybody, in your own words, anybody that you endorse.
Someone who says he's not sure if he's going to contest and he hasn't ruled himself out from contesting.
But anybody you endorse should not be voted for.
And again, another thing that
that's what it is.
I think it's a big lie, sir, is that you said you put Tinubu there, but the results show otherwise. APC got the worst results that they've had in recent years.
Well, you were sitting governor.
Why you were governor?
In Kaduna.
How many senators did the APC get in Kaduna?
None. They had just one House of Rep member, and it was his son.
Your son.
They lost all the remaining seats. It's really sad that we see. And you know the funny thing?
In Kaduna, Labour Party did well. PDP did well.
This would take me back to...
I beg now.
This would take me to Reno Omokri's interview, where he talked about El-Rufai, and he said that El-Rufai was his friend, he knew this and that and that, and that he had spoke to him about how they were going to finally retire former President Buhari, because, you know, President Buhari had contested a few times and he didn't win. So only for him to be at an event, and he sees that El-Rufai is endorsing the person that they said that
they were going to retire. That's politics.
And that he saw him, and he knows that he's a very articulate person, but that's the very first time, after speaking to him, the first time he will ever stammer. And that was how they fell out, that no, this is not someone that...
That's politics.
You know, and if we go to that interview, maybe it's time that I think a few people need to make like rebuttals if those things...
Oh, it should come now. It should come.
Are not true.
Should.
There were quite a few indictments on El-Rufai as a person. Peter Obi needs a bit of clarification on quite a number of things that...
Peter Obi needs to respond to Reno Omokri.
I think he needs to respond to Reno Omokri. Also, another person, and I think he has even responded, was Segun Showumi. I think the man responded. There are quite a number of people that interview was...
It was always going to be like that when you name people. When you mention names, it was always going to be like that.
But it's funny how he seems to have quite a number of things to say about a lot of people.
Yeah, it will always happen now. When that's his job. It's his job to have things to say. You know, it's his job to have things to say. One of the things that I felt was actually profound that Reno said, and people might not like it, is on how Nigerians were very emotional.
Yeah, I agree.
We always attach emotions to everything rather than being logical and looking at things, you know. Yeah, there are things that would spark of debate, but the responses that I want to hear are the ones from El-Rufai and Peter Obi and Natasha. He confirmed how our then boyfriend, now husband, paid him to make the case that he was going to bring against Agboiwe. He said he used the money to travel to Malta to have a good time because he likes to travel, according to him. And if you didn't do something wrong, why would you pay someone off?
Pay someone off, yeah?
Yeah. At least in this context, though. In some areas, we've heard it's happened. But in that context of you saying the person sexually assaulted you and you're the one that's giving him money, in that context, there's something wrong somewhere. In the other context, some people are forced to make payments just to make things go away. You get. But in the case between Natasha and Reno, that he said, you know, people intervened and they paid him. He said they paid him handsomely and he has proof.
But I still, you know, one thing that still amazes me is how he comes off as a very logical person that you will not, you cannot take away from him. How he really, really, really was against President Bola Tinubu. He was really against him becoming president. But he also addressed it, talking about how there are things that he accused him of, and he went to do his research. And you know what? You can't accuse this person. I'm not going to go ahead accusing people. And I think that whether we like it or not, one thing that I think I got from that interview is that we need to be factual. We need to be more factual than emotional when listening to things.
You cannot argue with facts. You can't. If you don't like it, take a walk.
It's okay, yeah?
Keep quiet.
It's okay not to like it.
Ignore it. But you can't argue with facts. And I think we do a lot of that in Nigeria. We as a people, a lot of that. It's not just a Nigerian thing, it's a global thing. Once you don't like someone, no matter how factually correct the person is, you will find a fault.
Yeah.
And you find the strength to disagree with the person. But if it's your person, you will support now, blindly self, you know. But it's all good in the hood. We'll continue, you know, to break these things down, you know, and just play up the facts and prefer the solutions also.
Anyway, PDP leaders are in a meeting with INEC officials in a closed-door meeting as we speak. But I thought that they said that INEC can go to places. So why are you in a meeting with INEC? I don't get it. And I think at this moment now, I think that all eyes are on INEC. So INEC too is trying to do the right thing so that, you know, nobody comes to indict them. Because left to me, I think that a lot of things, INEC, in some of these cases, INEC actually needs to be indicted. But anyway, let's move on from that. And let's go on to the U.S. quickly. As the U.S. president today, after he announced the ceasefire between Iran and Israel after what seemed like an 11-day back and forth, it has now lashed out that both countries are violating the truce. There are quite a number of things that happened. If Israel started, then Iran responded, and Iran went as far as bombing. Then US responded again, and then Iran now went ahead and started bombing US military bases in Qatar and Iraq.
Actually, anything I say here is not my real voice. I was watching a video online, and a lady in an Iranian state TV studio was talking, and that place was bombed live. So anything I say here, I'm not discussing that country that did the bombing. I won't even mention their name. What I just wonder is how we bomb ourselves first, then we have peace talks after.
Can't we have those conversations before?
I'm not that smart, but it's like, okay, I bomb you, you bomb me, I bomb your friend bombs your friend's friend. Then when I say, okay, let's have peace talks now. Wow.
So my question is not even to Iran and Israel, because the truth is that...
Your question is to who?
Wait, let me finish now.
Don't ask me about that country, shall
Which country?
That
Iran
one.
Or Israel?
One of them.
Like I said,
the name starts with
my
an I.
question is not even to both of them.
The country's name starts with an I.
My question is to the United States. So, if you were going to have a sit down, you were going to make a truce between both of them, what was the point of looking for a way to bomb Iran?
Over to you, sir, Mr. President. That's our question to you.
Like, you just escalated the issue.
Then you now say, let's talk.
It don't make sense. See, they might not have been bombing themselves for years, but we all know that Iran and Israel have never really been besties. We knew it was sort of like, it was just waiting for when it was going to happen.
Is there a way that if something was going to happen, it can be in this area of the studio? Because I've stayed neutral. I only asked a question. Why did
Trump,
this person bomb this person?
Plan?
Then this person bombed this one back. Then that one bombed that one's friend. Then this one's friend bombed that one's friend's base. Then I said, let's talk peace.
Let's be using common sense.
Let us have peace in the... I'm still looking up. Let us have peace in
anyway, now because of this ceasefire proposal, oil prices seem to have been dropping now.
Let's speak to this oil price thing, and a lot of us don't like it as Nigerians. I'm speaking to Nigerians now. But since the sector is majorly deregulated, I won't say fully deregulated, but majorly deregulated, what it basically means is that we are now open to these wars. So for all of you that say, how does this war affect you? This is how it affects you. This is one of the ways that it affects you. And strangely, within the space of 24 hours, just hearing that the price of crude was going to go up, Nigerian filling stations started adding 60, 40, some as much as 100 naira.
NNPC. Even NNPC, the people that you think that will be for Nigerians, that they claim that was for Nigerians, is a lie.
Now that oil has gone down by $5,
are you going to reduce it?
How come there's no immediate? Because it's deregulated now, Abi. But they always have one very...
There's one story,
that the price you used to buy.
You can't even lie that it's new stock because it's still old stock.
The old stock that you already sold to us that you have made money
hours.
From. And you have made extra 60, 70 naira.
You're lying.
What are you talking about?
Anyway, let's be going because we are on the way in this Nigeria. Before we go, kind of have a couple of minutes to go. It's a bit of sports. Wait, hold on. Before we go through sports, just wanted to put this out there. U.S. House has now banned WhatsApp from official devices. Also, Museveni, Ugandan president, wants to go again. It's probably one of the oldest.
I saw him brisk walking at the weekend, showing people that he was fit, physically fit. He was brisk walking.
President Muhammadu Buhari will most likely brisk walk.
Yeah.
It don't mean that we still want him as president. Not because we think it's
former-
bad, but
former President Buhari, like you said, and former President Obasanjo, he still plays squash.
yeah, it's still dirty.
He still
We
goes
don't
for-
want him as
The
president
man goes for
anymore.
walks 3-4 a.m. and he's very active. Does that mean that he should come back?
He
as
should come
president?
back. No.
But
What do we know?
what do we know?
Anyway, Club World Cup. Interesting news coming from the clubs, as we had said. It's official. It's really fast. Is it just me? The games really moved really fast, and now they're in the last 16 fixtures, and it's starting on Saturday, June 28th. It's starting with Palmeiras and Botafogo are going to be playing on Saturday. Also, the winner of Group C and runner-up of Group D. So some of these games are still not being done, but the ones that are done, PSG will play in Inter and Miami. Interesting to see how.
Messi versus his former
Yeah,
club.
I honestly, with other than Messi, I don't see how Inter Miami is winning that game. But with kind of
It's
things that
football.
we have seen, especially even in this.
And the South American teams have been amazing. You
Yeah,
know?
the South American Saudi teams, they're not coming to play at all. Take, for example, Atletico Madrid is not playing again. They're out. Who would have thought? So interesting news there also. Another set of games that I think that are confirmed at the moment. I think the rest of the games will be played before the end of the week, and then we'll now know who's playing who. But those are the games that we're sure that imagine most of the big names have not even qualified yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see where all that would get to. But also before we leave that matter, I was going to say, remember that Inter Miami is basically the US team.
Yep.
Are you saying that they're also just they're helping them pad it a little bit?
There's no padding there. It's football. We've watched these games. They are doing their best. Yesterday, you'd have thought they were going to win that game with the quality of players that they had. And he ended 2-2, you know. So, no padding there. I don't know. You're still talking football. Shout out to Liverpool. This time last year, people like us were poking fun at them for not doing enough business in the market. And they still ended up winning the league.
Yeah.
And now, they're buying players like
it's going out of fashion. They saved their money. They saved all their money for this
respect to
time.
Liverpool.
They definitely did.
the most serious and professional team in the Premiership as of today, in my opinion, is Liverpool FC.
Anyway, moving on from that quickly, Wimbledon is set to honor two-time champion Sir Andy Murray.
Yeah, he won 200 Wimbledons and he deserves a
200.
statue. Yeah,
Two.
200.
Two.
Put 2 zeros there.
Two.
Put 2 zeros.
Two.
See, Djokovic won more. What's his name? Nadal won
Another
more.
one more.
Yeah.
What's he called?
Federer won.
Federer one more. But
Serena
no,
won more.
No, he's a what's he called?
He's British.
He's British.
It's British.
He's British.
It's British. So
I want to.
So he won 2
Yeah.
Grammys and he has to get
Grammy.
Is it not Grammy that we're talking about?
Let's be going. Before you say what you're not supposed to say, let's come and be going.
Let me finish my message to the world.
Say what you want to say because
There,
come and beat us
there,
now.
we bidding. Is it because of the 2 Grammys that are the money? 2. Oh, sorry, it's Grand Slam. Sorry, it's Wimbledon.
Oh my God!
He won
you
only
are just
2.
A wicked human being.
2. 2.
What's
How many did Serena? Where's Serena's? What's the
statues?
where is it?
Statues. No, it's not
Where
a
is-
statue. They should be as tall as out should be as tall as the Statue of Liberty.
Empire State Building gone safe. What really happened? How many did Federer win? Murray won 2 Grammys, and you
Stop saying Grammys.
Sorry.
Okay, so Serena Williams won 7.
Hey, now.
7, oh.
I know.
I just wanted to be sure.
So, and you want Murray's statue to be ready by 2027?
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
He
Say
won-
it.
Nadal
Uh,
won. He also won 2 Wimbledon's grass and won 4 US Open.
uh-huh.
So where is Nadal's
they should give him one because they both won 2.
Yeah.
I know federal won more than 2, Sha.
Yeah.
I know federal won more than 2.
So the only people that have won more 6 hard court, the only 3 people that have won more, because Nadal won 6 hard court Grand Slam titles. The only other people that have won more than him is Djokovic, Federer, and Pete Sampras.
Yeah.
So my question is, how come all these other people,
they don't get
all these 4,
their own walk of fame for winning 7 Grammys or 5
Hollywood
or
style
4 Grammys?
Hollywood style.
Yeah.
But let's be good. Before you
the London Club of Tennis, I mean, whatever you people call yourself.
That's a serious bunch.
All England Club,
that's a serious bunch.
We're done.
Goodbye. Before we say what we're not supposed to say.
Keep it
At
up.
this point, we've already said what we're not supposed to say, but
shout out to the Grammys.
You know, that's why I like you on this show. You know why? The reason why I put it. I was really sarcastic, but you caught on, even though we did not talk about it.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
Bye.